So here are 4 examples or practice problems to recognize whether you have a perfect square trinomial and then factor appropriately. But let's just say we wanted to factor these in general, whether it's a perfect square trinomial or not. So we'll look for it to be that, but if not, we'll factor it like normal. If you want to, go ahead and pause the video, try them yourself, and then come back to the video. All right, so if I go to factor this first trinomial, x squared minus 14x plus 49, one thing that rings a bell to me is that's a positive 49, which is a perfect square. As soon as I see a perfect square at the beginning and an end, I'm going to start thinking perfect square trinomial. Now, it may or may not be, but let's try it out. So if I square root x, I get x. All right, square root x squared, I get x. If I square root 49, I get 7. My middle term is negative, so I'm going to put a minus there. Now let's see if I make that a perfect square, whether it works. X times negative 7 would give me negative 7x. When doubled, I would get negative 14x, and that's what I have in the middle. So that should work. So let's check it. X minus 7 times x minus 7 is x squared minus 7x minus 7x plus 49 minus 7x twice gives me negative 14x. So that works. Our next example, once again, I've got an x squared, which is a perfect square, and a 16, which is a perfect square. So I'm going to take a look and see if this would work if I use x plus square root of 16 is 4. I'm using a plus because the 10 in the middle was positive. So let's see if this would work. X squared is x squared, 4 squared is 16, but if I look at the middle, 4x doubled would be 8x, and that is not what I had here. So this is not a perfect square trinomial, so I cannot use this strategy. Now, it doesn't mean it's not going to factor, but even though it looked like I had perfect squares, it's not going to work. So then we have to just go back to factoring like we normally would. So this is a trinomial, so I'm going to start with my parentheses for my binomials, go x times x. I can look at factors of 16 that would add up to 10, so I'll start with 1 and 16, 2 and 8. Oh, before I go any further, 2 plus 8 is 10, so I have plus 2 plus 8. And then a quick check on that by foiling, x squared plus 8x plus 2x plus 16. Adding those middle terms up, I get 10x, which is what I wanted. All right, next one, 4x squared plus 36x plus 81. Looking at the first and last term, again, ringing bells. These are both perfect squares. So let's see if it'll work this way as a first guess. X squared, 4x squared, when I square root it will be 2x. 81, when I square root it will be 9. Now my middle sign is positive, so I'm going to put a plus 9 here. And then let's check the middle term. I want to multiply these two terms together. 2x times 9 is 18x. And then if we double that, I'm going to get 36x, which is exactly what I have here. So that should work. To do a check to make sure we haven't missed anything, multiply 2x plus 9 times itself out. Doing an honest check, make sure you don't just automatically put down that it is correct. 2x times 2x is 4x squared, plus 2x times 9 is 18x. 18x again in the middle, plus 81. These two middle terms, 18x plus 18x, do give me that 36x, so that checks. Last example, 16x squared minus 8x plus 1. 16x squared is a perfect square. 1 is a perfect square. Let's try out the perfect square trinomial. So if I square root 16x squared, I get 4x. If I square root 1, I get 1. Now, the middle term is negative, so use a minus in between. And let's double check what we get for the middle. So 4x times negative 1 is negative 4x. If I double that, so multiplied by 2, I get negative 8x, which is where I wanted to be. So that looks like it's my answer, but always do a thorough multiplication to make sure. 4x minus 1 times 4x minus 1 is 16x squared minus 4x on the outside minus 4x on the inside, and then negative times a negative is a positive 1. These two terms in the middle add up to negative 8x, which is what I wanted. All those signs are good, so I'm good. That checks.